Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Aquarius. Alright Aquarius, you're up. This is going to be for December 29th to January 4th. And we're going to get right into pulling out your romance angels messages. And then we'll get into your animal spirits. Alright, my lovely Aquarius. Let's just see what your week is going to be like this last week of 2019. Merging into the first week of 2020. Very exciting times. New Year's is always an exciting time regardless because it's a time of being able to say goodbye to one year of experience and welcoming a new year, right? So pay attention to red flags, Aquarius. We have playfulness. This came out for Sagittarius also. Nice. And we have stay optimistic about your love life. All right, so let's get right into your animal spirits and see what that's all about. Let's see what kind of animal spirits you're dealing with during this period, Aquarius. All right, let's just see now. And of course, just take what applies. See if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Now, all readings can be for all people. The bee. Cross watchers. I always say that because the bee comes out. Oftentimes, I'm going to say to you, the bee is a regular player for my readings. And not only that, the bee almost always comes out for the first position. The black egg associated with the 5th chakra or the throat chakra. And the frog. Wow, so my regulars, those of you who have been really watching my channel for quite some time, you know that these two spirits are probably the most frequent animal spirits in my readings. And it is certainly nice to see them show up for this last weekly for one of my favorite signs, which is Aquarius. All right, so the bee is a beautiful air element. It's an alchemical symbol for air at the top. And everybody loves to be around the bee because he's so hardworking, right? His energy helps creativity to blossom, right? Just as the bee is integral to the blossoming and growing and fertilization of flowers and all kinds of fauna in our wildlife. It's the same way when we're talking about energies and dealing with people and life, right? The bee is able to go from one to the next and pick a little bit and sprinkle a little bit there. And he just helps the growth of the group. He helps the creativity of the group to sort of manifest. Very, very hardworking, very, very creative creature, right? Also the type of animal spirit that wants everyone to be happy. It's very democratic in that way. Why? Because it's a very colony-based attitude. Everyone has their place and every place is valuable, right? And so the bee is one of these personalities that everybody loves to be around, you know? Nobody... You know, they make you feel welcome. This is the person who's going to, usually this is probably the person who's going to come into a group dynamic and raise the entire level of that group dynamic to a higher level of interaction, to a more creative level of interaction. He's going to come in and be able to sort of mend bridges or mend areas of communication where others are not able to communicate with each other. The bee energy can come in and mend that sort of rift. Strong, strong energy. Now the black egg, associated with the throat chakra, which is the 5th chakra. The black egg is, of course, talking about removing obstacles to communication. Removing that black blockage, right? Don't allow sort of yourself to be closed off. And your center of communication, you know, our throats, really, our ability to talk. You know, it's magical. You know, the fact that we have language, you know, and that we can make these sounds and string these sounds together and produce them and out into the world, and someone else can hear them and understand the thoughts that are inside of our heads that we are trying to communicate. The entire process of that is a magical wonder. And so when we talk about the throat chakra, we talk about the black egg, we talk about a need to ensure that that area of our chakra, our body is working and open If there are blockages there, why are they there? Find them and seek them out, right? What is stopping you from saying the things that you want to say? And certainly, you know, do you understand that by having that blockage there, you are also stifling your own ability to create, to be creative, to be creatively communicating to others, right? To be sharing what is inside of you with others, right? And so we seek to sort of remove all blockages and obstacles in our throat chakra, definitely. So the frog is water element, and we talk about cleansing and purification when we talk about the frog. The frog is the great rainmaker, right? It's like he, you know, I see him sometimes, I imagine him sort of beating his like little, I don't even know what they're called, his feet with the little suckers there, beating them, and like a rain drum, and down come the rains, you know, they pour down, you know. Have you ever gone out in a storm, you know, without an umbrella and just really allowed the rain to fall on you? It is really, it's like that. You can see that from the card and the cleansing that comes with that, you know. So the frog is all about cleansing. Cleansing the old, letting go of the old, cleansing negativity out of your life, right? Certainly, one of the things, though, with the frog is that it can get very tired out from this work that it does, because it brings cleansing and purification to a lot of people and environments, but oftentimes the frog is overworked and can get dried out himself and really needs to replenish his reserves. So take some time. If you're the one, if you're the rainmaker, if you're the one who helps to bring healing and cleansing to those around you, please make sure to take time out for yourself to re-nourish yourself, re-nurture yourself, to rebuild yourself, and to make sure that you are also being cleansed yourself of any sort of negativity or tiredness, etc., right? All right, guys, we're going to pull out 4 3-card spreads for you. See what your week may or may not be like, Aquarius. And of course, again, these messages, these readings can only be for certain Aquarius out there, right? Can't be for all of you, so just take what applies to you. And let me remind you, pay attention to red flags, playfulness, and staying optimistic about your love life. It's quite interesting because those are very, very different sort of energies, right? So let's just see how they are going to be impacting your week, Aquarius. All right, straight out the gate, we have 5 of Swords, 4 of Cups, and the Strength card. Strength just came out for Capricorn in this position. 5 of Swords is a power struggle, right? It's a power struggle with somebody who cheats. They use gossip. They use backstabbing means to sort of win. 5 of Swords is also the card for defeat. But it's the card for defeat because you realize that the only way you can win in this situation is to allow a defeat to happen. Why lower yourself to this person's level just to engage with them? So with 5 of Swords, we have this feeling of really throwing your hands up and saying, look, you win. You win. I don't care about necessarily winning, you know, because this person, all they care about is winning. They don't care that they win nobly or with honor. They will do whatever it takes. And so whenever you engage with somebody like that, you know, the best thing is really to throw your hands up, lest you lower yourself to their level, you know, which is inevitable when you're dealing with this kind of energy. So you've really sort of acquiesced. You've accepted defeat in an area by taking the high road. And you come up against this 4 of Cups this week, Aquarius. And it's quite interesting because it's like you've thrown your hands up and then somehow there's this, someone still wants to come at you and help you out. And you're like, nah, you know what? I don't need your help at all. You know, I feel almost like this person is, they've offered this cup of help or love, because the 4 of Cups is all about someone offering you love or assistance, genuine assistance. Sometimes friends can offer you help and you're just refusing to accept it. Now, sometimes, you know, this refusal is really not for your betterment. You know, you should be accepting their help. But sometimes your refusal to accept the help is because you want to maintain your own stability and strength, and you're not quite sure that what they're handing you is help at all, right? Or love at all. A lot of times 4 of Cups is about not accepting someone's cup of love until they show and prove that they actually have love in that cup for you. Right now, it's just an empty cup. But this feels very much like you were dealing with a power struggle, Aquarius. And you know what? Nobody was there to help you. Nobody was there to assist. And you said, you know what? I'm throwing my hands up. I'm going to accept defeat. I'm going to take the high road and get on with it. And as soon as you've done that, this week, all of a sudden, here comes your cup of love. And you're just like, well, guess what? Fuck you. I don't want it now. You know, you're too little, too late. You know, you should have been there to help me before. And this is really the feeling that I have here. You round out the week with a sense of strength. And I think for some of you, this entire sort of sequence of events has got you really sort of thinking about your own self, your own level of pride, your own level of indignation or pettiness perhaps sometimes. And also your own level of strength, right? This is very positively coming. I think you realize you're stronger than you thought you were before. And I think you also realize that perhaps at times you did give in a little bit to weakness such as pride and pettiness, but you see that and you rise above that. This entire exercise, I think for some of you Aquarius, has made you feel really, really strong within yourself. And also 8 major arcana strength also talks about putting boundaries in place, right? So that you can maintain your strength. So it's kind of like you've seen how strong you can be here. This is also strength. Seeing how strong you can be to make the right decisions for yourself, to say no. Putting boundaries then in place to maintain that strength, right? And to enforce those boundaries and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I no longer need people like you crossing this boundary with me or crossing this line with me, you know, overstepping. And you know what I mean? It's like you're putting everybody in their place, right? Because you realize you have the strength to do it. And you realize a lot about yourself through this entire process, Aquarius. It's a very nice sort of finish to a week of you really putting your foot down and you really sort of listening to your higher self. High Priestess, 3 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles. Some of you coming in this week with a high level of self-confidence, right? High Priestess is, of course, the highest card for intuition and relying on your intuition. It's also the card for sort of walking the walk, right? Understanding that it's only through sort of the belief in your ability, your inner voice, your ability to have an intuitive feeling of situations, that belief, and the fearlessness to follow it. You know, a lot of people talk about, oh, you know, I have this inner voice, you know, I have this inner voice and I'm very spiritually connected and all of that. But a lot of people don't actually follow their inner voice. They're taking, you know, there's more. It's not that easy. It requires courage, you know, because sometimes your inner voice tells you something you don't want to hear. Do you follow it then? You know, when your inner voice tells you, guess what? This soulmate connection is not a soulmate connection. No matter what you're feeling momentarily when you're around them, you feel terrible when you're gone from them. It's not your soulmate. Do you listen then? Or do you fight against it because of your need to be with someone or your need to have a soulmate right then and there so somebody will do, anybody will do? You know, saying that you listen to your intuitive voice is a lot easier said than done. However, Aquarius, you are listening to your intuitive voice. You are paying attention no matter how hard it is. And you're coming up to a 3 of Pentacles this week, which is works. There is something happening and you see it happening. There's a rift that's about to happen in a career area or a business area, and you already see it coming down the pike, even though you may not want it. It may be bad news for you, but you see it coming because it's right there and you're here, you know? All right, so you come into this week plotting away, working away on your business like you have been, but you know the writing is on the wall because by the end of the week, there's been a power struggle, major power struggle, and there's been a divide. And you're going to pay the price financially to a certain degree because 5 of Pentacles is all about that. The 5 is always a power struggle. With 5 of Pentacles, we see that what has happened is that there's been a power struggle in a group or union, right? Where before you were really connected. Because look, this is a church window, Right? So this signifies that there was common faith and focus, something very strong that aligned you two together. Nevertheless, there was a power struggle, a divide, and you, for all intents and purposes, have been kind of turned out into the cold. Five of Pentacles is oftentimes either a huge knockdown, a split, and very much a sort of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again, right? Those of you who are Jimmy Cliff fans, you know what I'm talking about. And you move forward, right? And so oftentimes Five of Pentacles is also a 2 steps back, 5 steps forward. It's a shift or a rift in a power struggle that was bound to happen. And of course, you know, it wasn't going to be easy, but the fact that you have gone through the worst part of it, which is the divide, the split, the best parts are ahead, because now you are free to progress much further than you would have ever progressed had you stayed in this dynamic. And certainly this is going to be something that is associated with your finance, your career, or your business. Judgment. Here we go again with Judgment. Always coming in this position. It's come in for almost, I want to say for all weeklies, Judgment has shown up so far. Emperor and Nine of Cups. So Judgment comes in when you feel a sense of reconciliation. It's almost like it's like the last reading, right? It's like this forecast is for almost the same scenario that was in the last forecast, but much, much later. The timing is, you know, you're ahead of it, right? The split and the divide has already happened in this forecast, perhaps sometime behind. But now you're looking back and maybe thinking, let me reanalyze this situation. Let me look at it again from different point of view, with different eyes, with hindsight. You know, maybe I could have handled it differently. Judgment is all about a feeling of possibly reconciling a situation, or possibly forgiving yourself and others for the way a situation went down, when now that you're realizing that, you know, it didn't have to go that way, or perhaps you were a little bit overcritical. In any case, this feeling is what you come into the week with, and some of you come right up against an Emperor, 4, also associated with Aries energy. And it's like, I'm going to say for some of you, this is very much a feeling that this person is kind of like, all right, you know, they're coming in and they're kind of saying to you, all right, you know, you feel this way, you feel like you want to reconcile. Do you really want to do that? You know, this feels again like this Emperor is showing up for Capricorn as well. This feels again like it's a relative or a friend or someone in your life who has a certain sense of authority, coming in and playing sort of devil's advocate to you, right? Trying to sort of be that other person to sound off at, and to get you to sort of think about things a little bit differently. Okay, how are you going to go forward now? You know, now that, yeah, you feel a little bit like you want to address this issue, but how are you going to do it? And it's quite interesting. It feels very much like a mentor feeling, you know, someone who cares about you, but who wants to mentor you. And in any case, you round the week off with a 9 of Cups. And so I think you round the week off after having spoken to this Emperor, being happy with what you have. Right? Sometimes Judgment, when Judgment comes in, which is basically about forgiveness and letting go, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go back to that person and now dig it all up. You know, try to fight that urge, you know, because that is also comes from an egocentric place, you know, just because we want to be forgiven so many times, right? Oftentimes we want, as humans, we want to be forgiven when we realize, but once we realize we've done something wrong, you know, we don't realize we've done something wrong. We don't really oftentimes care about forgiveness. But once we realize perhaps that there is a need for forgiveness from someone else, right? There's this desperate sort of need sometimes to go and get it from that person. But life isn't really like that. Sometimes you just have to swallow your pride, or your, you know, you have to swallow that urge in a way, because yes, you may have reanalyzed the situation. You may have realized that you weren't, you know, that you didn't handle it the best way possible. But now insisting that the other person forgive you is really the same thing that you were doing before. Just looking at a situation through your eyes only and judging it through your eyes only, you know. Sometimes we have to continue to accept the pain that, you know, we've done something, and really accept that we may not be forgiven by the other person, but that we forgive ourselves and we move on. And this is Nine of Cups. And I think this is something that you come to the point of, or the understanding of, with this Emperor energy, who comes in and really talks to you strongly about this situation. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe it wasn't the best way handled. Maybe they didn't handle it the best way. You didn't handle it the best way. But that understanding should be enough for you. When they're ready to reconcile with you, or when the other person is ready to forgive you, then they can do that. But forcing that issue is, it makes you feel like, you know, you never really learned your lesson. And I think this, you do learn your lesson, because you round off with Nine of Cups, which is being happy with the blessings you have. You know, being satisfied and happy with what you have now, and not forcing the issue in a situation simply because you've come to a certain understanding that maybe somebody else isn't ready to come to. Hanged Man, Three of Cups, and we have the Page of Cups. This is going to be the last one. Hanged Man is all about awakening, my lovely Aquarius. So some of you are having huge awakenings. You're being inspired right now. Awakening happens because of inspiration, right? And so you awaken to a particular area in your life, perhaps, that you want to work harder on, that you want to put a bigger sort of effort into, that you realize maybe you haven't been putting as much of yourself into as you should. And it could very well be also your love life. It feels very much for some of you who have not maybe been out and about. Maybe you've been feeling quite, you know, self-esteem issues, a little bit negative about going out and about, you know, but you're waking up to that. You're waking up to the fact that you want to share your cup of love, that you want to be around your friends. You know, enough is enough. You know, there's enough hiding, or enough sort of not pushing in that area, right? And so you come up with the Three of Cups. There's going to be celebrations happening for some of you. It could be some of you Aquarius may not have been out with friends for quite some time. Maybe the last couple of New Year's you haven't been out, but this year you're going out, you're celebrating, you're bonding, and you round the week off with a lovely Page of Cups. Somebody sees you and they want to hand their cup of love to you. And it's very, very nice. I feel like this is definitely a breath of fresh air for some Aquarians who for some time have really been not feeling so positive in this area. You know, you haven't had perhaps the self-confidence, or maybe you were healing from a relationship that didn't work out. But in any case, the inspiration comes into you again. And you realize, like with Hanged Man, you realize that, you know, you're not going to have more happy experiences unless you go out into the world and seek them out. And you realize that you come together with friends, and lo and behold, a beautiful cup of love. Stay optimistic about your love life. You know, this is definitely, be playful. This is definitely the area for this. And certainly B energy is involved, because I think that this is going to be, for some of you, a case of matchmaking. Right? Your friends are going to maybe put you on a date, maybe a blind date, or they may be behind the scenes orchestrating it, you know, that you guys get together or at least bump into each other. And it's all very cute and very sweet and very lovely. All right, Aquarius, this is December 29th to January 4th, your weekly reading. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share. Help me grow my channel so I can keep providing you with these videos. If you want to get a private reading, or if you want to get a 10-minute answer to a question, simple enough, I usually supply those within 4 hours of you of the booking being confirmed, so you can get a same-day answer to a question you have. Just go ahead and follow those links at the top of your screen. But for right now, Aquarius, have a wonderful end to 2019 and an even better beginning to 2020. I love you. Bye-bye.